Best in podcast, the best in town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you wanna go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest dam town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham, and I'm not an expert on dams or anything else, and you're currently listening to our podcast, We're No Dam Experts. With me in the studio today is someone else who is not a hydroelectric power expert, but he is a man about town. He is involved in nearly every facet of this community, an esteemed business owner, a tireless volunteer in the community, and someone who just loves to invest in our community. So with that, I'm introducing to you all listeners, Andy Ferrin.
Hi.
So Andy, a little bit of a highlight. You've got your finger in a lot of things in Great Falls.
I do, surprisingly. Growing up, I never thought I'd have this much invested into the community, but Great Falls is such a great place, you know. So I got a couple businesses downtown, a couple bars, music venue, furniture store.
So entertainment's pretty big, and then the comfort of your home, pretty big for Andy. Mm-hmm. Do you still serve on the Downtown Business Improvement District Board?
I do not serve on the Downtown Business Improvement District, but I am the president of the Downtown Association.
Oh, there we go.
I kind of just switched roles there after I got off the bid, got onto the DGFA.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we could talk for days about all your endeavors, the cocktails, the live entertainment, all the fun that could be had in downtown Great Falls. But you also, like many Montanans, love to get out and recreate.
Exactly.
Now, I've seen many pictures posted on Instagram and Facebook of your river activities. So you do spend some time on the river, kayaking, floating, fishing.
Yep, all that
above.
Stuff. Camping. Yep, my folks live down on the river, so we have access to the Missouri just south of town. So it's nice to get out, do fishing, boating, camping, hunting,
all the fun
pretty much
things.
anything you can do outside.
Yeah.
Big thing, obviously, skiing once we switch to that. But
yeah. Which is the cornerstone of why we brought you in, because you don't just ski this area, you ski all over. So I'm just going to claim that you're a skiing expert.
I'll agree with that.
Okay. Because there's no one in here that's going to diffuse that idea. Yeah. So talk to me about how many times you go skiing, how many places you go. Tell me all about your ski endeavors.
Yep. Well, growing up, of course, I skied every Friday, Saturday at Showdown ever since I was 10. Skied before that, coming from Minnesota. So I've been skiing. I was a leash kid, so I was so young that I skied down the hill. My parents would hold me with a leash. So I've been skiing my entire life. Moved out to Montana and got invested in the Great Falls Ski Club.
Okay.
And we've been a part of that ever since. But Montana is unique because we have the Rocky Mountains. Not that other states don't have that, but we're unique. We have great mountains with great quality snow. There's generally no ice around here, especially at Showdown. You get to some of the bigger mountains, Big Mountain, or if you want to call it Whitefish, Big Sky can get a tiny bit icy, but Showdown, which is our closest hill to us, so I'll concentrate on Showdown, it just year in, year out, I always have great snow. It's all natural snow, not man-made. Family-run hill, just you could ski all over the country. And people are always asking me, why are you skiing here? Doesn't Montana have more snow? And I'm like, yeah, they pretty much do.
Yeah. And Showdown, Montana's first ski hill, it, I think, is a unique feature that it is just natural snow. They have to wait until God decides to give them some white stuff to be able to do what they do. Is that normal for ski areas. I should also caveat this entire conversation with the last time I skied, I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
And that was also the first time I ever skied.
Okay, so one and done.
No,
Yeah.
I have no skills in this area.
Yeah, Showdown just seems to be an anomaly. It's not an extremely high elevation mountain, but it is for central Montana. And there's a magic line between Nyhart and Memorial Falls. Once you get above that Memorial Falls line, it seems like the snow level doesn't really melt. So you can have no snow in Monarch or Nyhart and have 5 feet of snow overnight at Showdown. Well, 5 feet might be a lot. It can snow 2 feet overnight.
Yeah.
And that hill's, people think you always want more snows the better, but at some point, too much snow is too much snow. You can't ski down a mountain with 4 feet of snow at Showdown, or even almost at any hill. It's just too much. The avalanche danger is too high. It's just the hill's not steep enough for you to get enough speed. So most ideal mountains, if you can get 16 to 24 inches of snow overnight or in a day, that's like your ideal like face shots, waist deep powder. And you get that at Showdown, and it could come on a Monday night. It could come on a Friday night. I mean, obviously, Mother Nature doesn't care what day of the week it is.
No, never has.
It never has. Yeah, but Showdown's just been one of those like nostalgic places in my heart, and I think that's just because I've been skiing there for so long, as well as everybody else in the community. And Showdown's a family-run operation. You get a lot of volunteering for the ski club or ski patrol or just workers in general. They don't want to see that hill go by the wayside.
Yeah.
And actually, the pandemic has greatly helped ski hills, especially Showdown, with other area ski hills being more expensive. That adds to Showdown getting more business, but also the fact that people just want to get outside, especially during the pandemic. So people kind of refound their love for the outdoors, whether it's skiing or winter activities, or obviously this summer I'm sure is going to be very busy with camping and boating and RV purchases and
kayaking and fishing and hiking and all the fun stuff. So when you're at Showdown, one of the things we've often shared with people, not because we know, but because Avery's told us, is there's not long lines to wait in to get to the top of the mountain or to ski any of the runs. Yep. Do you find that to be true? Is Avery telling us the truth when she says that?
Yep, she is. Historically, it's always been just a ride up, lift, ski day. So, I mean, you just ski down the hill. You're not really waiting in line. If you are, you're waiting for a minute. Saturdays have always been busy for Showdown, and they've gotten even busier since the pandemic. So, but even on a busy Saturday, if the parking lot's 100% full, you're still only waiting a couple minutes in line.
Oh, nice.
Which is great because you obviously don't get that at other hills. I was in Park City this last February, and I was a 45-minute wait per chair the whole day. Yeah, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it was a Saturday, granted, but still, even on I've skied all over the country, and even on a Wednesday, if you're skiing Jackson Hole, you're still waiting. Pick a number.
Well,
5, 10, average probably 10 to 15 minutes. And then you get on the mountain, then you're just skiing down with people next to you. I'm like, well, this isn't fun. Like, I'm just going to run into you. So that's nice thing about Showdown.
Space.
Yeah, is you have a pretty big mountain for our area, and you're just kind of skiing down the hill, and maybe sometimes you might have 20 other people on that run, but you don't have 300.
So what do people who are into skiing want to know about mountains and the ski terrain? What are the things they ask? Because I have obviously no clue.
Like a skier or a new skier?
No, like an avid skier. Someone who's like you, who goes all over.
Yep. Generally, like any profession, the more you do something, supposedly the better you get at it. But so like in skiing, you want steep and probably speed. So like that's why you get snowmobilers that go faster and faster, because they just have the need for speed. Mm-hmm. Skiing's not so much the need for speed, it's the need for vertical.
Okay.
And where Showdown has some pretty good vertical for our area, like that's why you go to bigger mountains to just get more vertical.
Okay.
The caveat is the consequences are a lot higher. So you take a spill, you might be going down, 30, 40 yards instead of 10 feet.
Okay.
So you want to make sure your
epic
skill
vertical
levels.
means epic failure
epic
as well.
consequences. Yeah, and it's usually involved with rocks and cliffs and trees and moguls, but somehow I find that fun.
Well, to each their own.
To each their own. But I think you're vertical and just some skiers just love groom runs, and some mountains are better than others at groom runs. Just like some of your neighbors' yards are better manicured than others' neighbors' yards.
Oh, yeah. I see. Okay.
Same with ski hills. Some are good, some are bad. Showdown's really good. I'd say 60% of the mountain is blue runs, and most blue runs are groomed.
Okay.
Showdown's a very family-friendly mountain, by the way, too, which we can talk about that a little later. But
yeah.
That's probably the two things people love is if you can't get powder and the steeps and stuff, people want nice groomed, even runs, like a manicured fairway on a golf course.
Okay.
Like it's spring skiing out now, they'll groom it every day, and then you get out in the morning, you get that nice, we call it corduroy run. So the groomer grooms the mountain and makes these little ridges, which is called corduroy. And that's very fun if you can beat the first couple tracks on that. It's kind of like a new Zambodied ice on an ice
fresh
rink.
And all
fresh.
clean.
Yep.
It's like the first bite of an ice cream cone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. After that's just all messy.
So right now in town, guests, visitors, listeners, it's gorgeous. It's a spring day. Nobody's wearing a coat. Mm-hmm. There are people out in shorts. It is warm today.
It is warm today. Not as warm as Sunday, but very warm.
But just a short drive away at Showdown, there's good snow still.
Yeah.
And the ski run is still open.
It's still open. Unfortunately, we're getting close to the ending weekend. This Sunday will be the last day Showdown's open. Teton just posted they'll be open one extra week, and they have a pond skim, I think, the following Saturday. So not this upcoming Saturday, but that must be April 9th or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting close. But that's a fun part of skiing too, is you are a diehard skier for December, January, February, most of March if we're lucky to get snow. But the last half of March, once the sun comes out and you get spring skiing, that's worthwhile in and of itself.
Okay.
Like it's a whole different experience to ski on a ski hill at 45 degrees and sunny, where like you can barely keep a shirt on because it's so warm.
Right.
And to most listeners, 45 degrees might not sound like very warm, but on a ski hill, it's very warm.
It's warm.
You get sunburnt at that level because the snow is reflective. But that's a unique experience. It's hard to put into words because there's a fine line of having the snow being soft but not too soft, where it's like slush and you're sinking in. At some point, you start sinking in and it starts catching your skis. But again, you find that right balance point, and it's just something skiers just love. And snowboarders, are not picking on skiers here. I've done both.
Which do you prefer?
Skiing.
Okay.
Snowboard is really fun in the powder because you have a bigger surface area.
Okay.
It's just snowboarders got to work a little harder to get places because you don't have the poles.
I think snowboarding looks like the cool sport. Like if you're going for fashion measures, that's what I would want to do. And oftentimes I've said, my husband's like, let's go skiing. And I said, I'd try snowboarding. And he's like, no, you're not coordinated enough to have both of your feet strapped to the same board.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but they just look cooler than skiers.
Yeah,
and that's, the most important thing for me.
That's looking cool because you got your hands. You just kind of wave your hands and
you do fancy moves and not fall down and not wreck.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that's
it's hard since I've done both and I've skied, since pretty much my whole life. Supposedly it's easier to ski because you're going parallel to the hill, but then you have to learn to keep your feet together. So you're not like doing a spread eagle or the splits going down the hill. And the snowboarding, your feet are strapped to the board. Your body's perpendicular to the hill going down. So this is a little harder to learn a balance point that way, but it doesn't matter. As long as people get up to the hill, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like more and more people are going up. Our club is increasing in numbers. People are just getting out and about, and I think they're finding their love of nature again.
Which I think is good. And, Montana, it's not necessarily unique to Great Falls. There's a lot of outdoor recreation that exists here. Mm-hmm. And so having people go out and experience that. Now, one of the things that I will say is we've got a lot of new recreators, people who have never done this, or people who say, I'm going to go and I'm going to become an outdoor recreationist.
Yeah.
And then they say, let's go skiing. What do they need to know about going skiing for the first time? Because
Yep.
one of the things that we have learned, thanks to Aaron Wiseman, is people need to acclimate if they're coming from a lower level climate. What are the other tips?
That's a very good tip, which I wouldn't have brought up if you didn't tell me, because I'm so used to our elevation. But yeah, if you're from Florida and you want to try to go skiing, and even at Showdown, you can be like huffing for air or like sucking air because your lungs just aren't used to the elevation change, which I've seen before.
You're physically fit, otherwise.
Exactly, yeah. It's just elevation gain. Second thing, which I would put number one, and I tell everybody this if they're new skiers or new to the sport, temperature. Because last thing you want to do is go to Showdown on a weekend you have open and it's 10 below and it's half ice and you're not going to love it because it's windy. So like pick and choose your days, I guess is what I would say. Start early in the season or late in the season or just pick a day that's generally above 10 degrees is about a perfect day. If you can ski on a sunny day in 20-degree weather, you got it made.
Okay.
And then it's not windy because you're already aggravated enough with learning. Okay. And you can pick it up, everybody's different, but you spend 2 or 3 days on the hill, like you're going to get pretty comfortable. You're probably not going to go to the top of the mountain, but you'd be comfortable enough to get off the bunny hill and up the first chair.
Okay.
And a lot of it's like if you're pretty good balance-wise, it's not too bad. Although I did ice skate for the first time in 10 years at the ice rink.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, what am I doing out here? And this 5-year-old's just lapping me, and I'm like hanging onto the railing. But after 20 minutes, I found my legs again. I'm like, I kind of remember how to do this. I can't play hockey, but I can make it around the rink.
Just a little practice. I'm sure you'll be back.
Little practice, but yeah, if you can find the ideal temperature and sunny, not windy, it's just you want to work in your favor, not against your favor.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest.
I've also heard people say things like they do the backcountry skiing, which to me means they're going to the top of the hill, and instead of going down the hill the right way, they're going down the hill the back way. The back way. Is that right?
And that's kind of right. On a big hill, you can ski off the backside. Showdown's backside's a little rocky. You get on the wrong side of the hill and it would take too long to come out. So most of the time, backcountry means you're taking a snowmobile and you're cruising into the backcountry somewhere where there's no cell phone reception and it's kind of dangerous. I haven't done it. I haven't done it in a while. I got a couple club members that are really avid. That's, I would say, more on the extreme side of things. You're not just gonna.
So you're saying we have extreme sports here?
Yeah, we have extreme sports here. Yeah, I would not recommend you be like, oh, backcountry looks fun. Let's rent a snowmobile and then just cruise up this mountain. I've done true backcountry a couple times. It's very fun, but it's very technical. You have to usually if you're skiing off the backside of a mountain, even if it's Showdown, they still want you to check in with ski patrol. Right. Make sure you have a transponder and a shovel and don't go alone. You would assume it's like not rocket science stuff, but every year somebody gets lost, and it's like, well, what you're thinking? You just can't ski off backside, and then now you got to hike back out. But the benefit, obviously, to backcountry skiing or snowboarding is that you don't have any crowds. You can ski down a whole mountain and have first tracks all day. And then, of course, you get the really big ski resorts, and all they do is heli ski. You can pay somebody to bring up a helicopter. Like, I want to ski down that mountain.
And then they drop you?
Drop you, and you ski down.
That doesn't happen here, right?
Not here, but it would happen in Big Sky. It's probably the only place they do that. Yeah.
So it is available somewhere in the state.
It's available somewhere in the state. Yeah.
Well, I ask because we do have helicopters here. I've heard people that do helicopter tours to see the Chinese Wall and the Bob. Yeah. Because they don't want to do the backpack trip in to see it. So I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of thing happened.
Yeah, I'm sure you could find somebody. I'll stick to being an expert on the ski hill. Yeah. And then we can bring somebody in for the expert
on the hella skiing.
Hella skiing. Yeah. Hella skiing in backcountry.
So you've been mentioning a little bit about Teton Pass, which is another unique experience, but completely different than Showdown?
I'd say not completely different. It's just a little smaller scale.
Okay.
Yep, but very fun, gorgeous views. Probably one of the prettiest views in the state of Montana from a ski hill. We were just there 2 weekends ago with the ski club. Had great sunny weather. You kind of like almost on top of a mountain, and when you turn around, all you can see is like mountain peaks behind you.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous.
I, again, not a skier, but went up to Teton Pass for the first time a month ago for lunch. We drove up just because we'd never been up there, never seen it before. You know, not being a skier, there wouldn't be a real reason for me to go up there other than to have lunch.
Yeah.
So we did that, and it was absolutely stunning. And I was flat shocked how many people were there.
Yeah.
It's not just a localized hill like you would just think people from Showdown are in that area, or people from from this Great Falls area, but there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, that guy from Canada came down just to ski it, so they're drawing people in from the border, and there's a lot of people in Great Falls that will choose to go, well, I won't say choose to go to Teton, but you just average it out. You don't want to ski one place all the time. Yeah. So it gives you a little bit of diversity and still being close, and it's just a fun hill. It's just, you just got to experience it. But like I said, even for lunch, they got great food.
They do.
Drive up there. Well, the whole drive even from here to Teton is great, but obviously Showdown to Teton, going through the canyon and having the Teton River right next to you. It's just pristine. And
it's another one of those experiences where your drive is pretty. And when we took it, wasn't that long ago, like the end of February. Yeah, that would be about right. And no snow here in town. And the closer and closer we got, the more snowpack, the more snow covered it was. And then the further we got towards Teton, the banks just got higher and higher. And I'm like, oh, finally, you can see winter.
And the road gets narrower and narrower. And it's like, there's a lot of snow here. I'm like, hope I don't run into downhill traffic. Yeah.
So always be cautious, listeners, if you're going up to Teton.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a little cognizant of the fact that people will be going. It's two-way road, but sometimes it's not wide enough for everyone to get through at the same time. So you have to stop and hang out. So... how many times have you skied? How many times have you skied Teton?
Ooh, geez. If I had to guesstimate since high school, probably not as much as you think. Probably 20 or 30 times.
Okay.
Where Showdown's more in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was a time where Teton was shut down too.
Right.
And so they're under new local ownership, which is great.
Yeah.
Chuck is amazing. But just one of those things, like my home mountain is Showdown. Yeah. And if I want to change things up, go to Teton.
Yeah, go see some other stuff.
Yeah.
And we do have a ski hill that's just to the south of us, and we'll just say its name, Great Divide.
Divide.
We're not going to talk about it much. Yeah. And you ask why, listeners. Well, I will tell you why we're not talking much about Great Divide. It's a great day trip down there, probably less than an hour and a half away. But it's really close to Helena, Montana, and this is produced by Great Falls, Montana Tourism. So
that's right.
there, we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
That's the story. So you're part of the ski club, and are you part of ski patrol as well?
Not ski patrol, just ski club.
Yep. So what is ski club? Just make sure you can get out and ski?
Yep, that and a lot more. Yep, that's it. Just go
tell
skiing,
us more.
people. The end of podcast. Yeah. No, fun fact for a lot of listeners who don't know much about Showdown is Showdown was actually started by the Great Falls Ski Club back in 1936. And
oh my goodness.
That's Porphyry Peak ski hill back then. And obviously Nyhart was a mining town, so they just went a little further and made Showdown or Porphyry Peak. I'm not sure who was smart enough back in the day to pick that hill, but they picked it perfectly because it's at the right angle. It keeps snow. It never gets foggy. It never gets icy. But yeah, so the ski club owned it all the way up until we sold it to George Willett in probably George has owned it since, I don't know the exact date. It'd have to be like
70s,
60s, late mid 60s, early 70s. It was actually George Willett and Ted Cogswell with Cogswell Insurance. Oh. Everybody just thinks that's George Willett, but they were partners, and George didn't have that much money. Ted was the money, I think, behind the means of the operation, and I think they were drinking in the bar one night, and
where all good deals
happen, and
where everything of merit occurs.
Yeah. And George and Ted were like, "Yep, think we should buy a ski hill." And Ted's like, "Okay." I'm like, "Who's gonna run it?" And George lost that bet, and he's the one running it. George was an accountant, I think.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
And just quit his job and worked up at the hill and made a great business what it is today. But so the cool thing about the ski club is, so we've always been tied to the hip with Showdown. As a member of the ski club, you get a free voucher if you're a new member and join the club. So it's kind of our way of, or Showdown's way of promoting the club, plus enticing people to come up to the hill.
You bet.
Yeah, we do skier education in December, which is tied with Showdown's Christmas camp.
Okay.
And it's a 3-day camp over the Christmas holiday break. I think it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Don't quote me. But if you're a new skier to that program, the club will sponsor one kid to go through the program. So let's say it's I think this year was $120 or $125 for all 3 days of lessons. So all the parent has to do is, when the kid completes the course, they just get initial from Showdown, send it to us, and then we'll send you a reimbursement check for $125.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, which is sweet. It's a new program we started a couple years ago, and every year it gains popularity. And we only have so much grant money, so you might be tapped out at $3,000. You might only be able to do 35 kids.
Right.
I'm not going to do the math right now.
So don't do public math. It always goes badly.
Yeah.
So you say kid. Does that actually mean kid, or does that mean like me, young at heart?
No, it's yeah, true.
Actual
it's kids,
kid?
Yeah, it's kids camp. But Ski Patrol has kind of an adult program. And of course Showdown has a lot of great programs too. Well, I don't say programs, but good monetary enticement to try skiing. A couple different programs. There's like learn to ski on Sundays, like learn
ski three, get free.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah. It's a lot of just getting people up there. I think the notion of skiing might scare some people, but once you get up there and experience the culture, and once you get on the hill, it's a whole different world. And so once you get hooked, you're hooked. You know, I don't know many people that just stop skiing. Except for you.
Well, it was one time.
One time.
I don't even claim I can quit it if I only do it one
That's
time.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's not even really a try.
Yeah.
And it was a student council trip from eastern Montana where there aren't any hills. And we're like, oh, let's go on the student council trip and go skiing at Showdown.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There was 6 of us. It was fun. It was a great experience. It's not like I said, oh, that was miserable.
Yeah.
But I think as an adult, what gets you scared is not necessarily the skiing portion. It's the wrecking.
Yeah, exactly.
The part of that you are going to have to wreck at some point in order to learn. And I think that's the greatest fear in learning to ski.
Yeah. I would concur. Like, the older you get, the more it hurts to fall down.
And the tougher it is to recover and more for your ego.
Yeah.
So, Andy, what's the greatest wreck you've ever had?
Oh, geez. I've got a couple. There's 2. One, speaking of elevation gain, I was at Snowboard, Utah, probably late high school, and we were hiking above the chairlift. Like, we're still inbounds, but just hiking above. And it was a bluebird day, powder, 24 inches of snow, and I caught an edge or a rock, and I ate it, and I flipped forward probably, I don't know how far down the mountain I went, but I'd say probably 60, 70 yards, almost a whole football.
My God.
And I had to hike back up to get my skis because you pop out of your skis. And I got
Which is probably the benefit. You don't want to be rolling with those.
you don't want to be rolling with those things. And so I was halfway up the hill, and I was just huffing and puffing for air. I'm like, what is going on? I am in good shape. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm at 11,000 feet, you know. So
I'm not used to this.
So that one was probably my longest wreck. But I did have one, too, in the train park, also in high school. I was grinding on a rail, and my ski popped off, and it hit me through my kneecap, and it drove my ski brake went all the way through my kneecap into my bone.
Oh my God.
And the sad thing is I didn't even know it was there because I couldn't really feel it. And so I went inside to take my snow pants off. My leg was just dripping blood.
Oh no.
So luckily they're all kind of funny little moments. I've never,
And you
broken
fully
a neck
recovery.
fully recovery. I've never had a huge concussion. I've had maybe one. Wear a helmet, kids. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an important thing.
That's an important thing.
Really kind of a new thing. I mean, that wasn't...
Yeah. Even back when I was skiing growing up, helmets weren't really a thing,
Yeah.
And it wasn't cool, to wear a helmet. Now it's super cool.
Yeah.
Now people you don't have a helmet on? What are you doing out here,
Yeah,
kid?
why are you here?
Yeah.
And it really completes the outfit.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Complete that. You got to look good. Yeah. Look good, feel good.
It feels awful not having Maudie here for this episode because she is always my counterbalance of fashionista.
Yeah.
And then it's not as horrible when someone's like, oh my God, you people always just talk about fashion.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, it's an important factor.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny. And then you take it too far and you go to these big resorts, like Park City or Jackson Hole or Aspen, and you look at these people, I'm like, are you really going to wear that on the mountain? That's not going to protect you.
Yeah, is that really an outfit?
You're wearing Spanx. It's 0 degrees out.
We've all seen the movies.
Yeah, we've all seen the movies, yeah. Yeah, the best ones, we call them East Coasters, when people are just wearing jeans and they tuck it into their boots, and it's that's going to be super cold, and that's going to be, your jeans are going to be icicles the first run you take.
So my husband said back in the day, of course, he has been skiing since he was well before high school. So we're just going to say the 80s for protection of the innocent.
Yep.
But he says to me, we were up at Teton, and he says, I'm going to rent some skis and I'm going to go skiing. I'm like, go for it.
All right.
I'm like, you have no gear. You have no snow pants. You don't have an actual ski coat. You have a light jacket on. You don't have gloves. You don't have a sun cap. He's like, woman, back in the day, I used to ski in my Wranglers and a sweatshirt. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
That's fine, but there's a reason we've evolved past back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's too funny. Yeah.
So you've mentioned often that Showdown is a family-friendly ski resort.
Mm-hmm.
We've also mentioned there is some opportunity for extreme skiing. Talk to me about the family-friendly component for people with kids or people that have older parents maybe.
Yeah. So I think they're mostly family-friendly, A, because they're a family-run operation, but B, the mountain just lends itself to a little bit more beginner and intermediate runs. So the whole right side of the mountain's all green runs.
Okay.
For the real novices, it goes green, blue, black.
Okay.
Double black.
Thank you.
So green is easy, blue is intermediate, and blacks are hard. So it's a good layout to teach anybody.
So it kind of keeps the family or the people who aren't very advanced in an area of their own, so they're not combating against the double black people.
Exactly, yeah. And it's generally how it works at most mountains is the lower half is all easy and the upper half is hard. But at the end of the day, the upper half is still coming to the lower half, so you still got to get back to the lodge. But so in a big resort, you might have tons of people flying by it, but at Showdown, you're fine.
Yeah.
And most ski resorts, they have slow signs, they have cages or ropes up, and so trying to protect the fast skiers from running into a kid.
Which is really important because
yeah.
No matter how cool you are, you never feel awesome when you take out a little kid.
Exactly, yeah.
And everyone just lays there and cries at that point.
Oh, yeah. That's not good.
So there's a lot of fun activities that happen up at Showdown. Last weekend was the mannequin jump.
Yep. And that was a good turnout. I unfortunately missed it. It was working.
Yeah. That'll happen.
Yeah.
And then there's a pond skim and there's some other activities.
Yeah.
What's one of your favorite activities? They do the torchlight run for
parade.
New Year's.
Yep, they do. A lot of mountains have different activities. A lot of them do mannequin jumps. A lot of them do pond skims. Most places do like a New Year's ski down the mountain.
So these are things other places have done.
Do too, but our
Good to know.
Our big one is the mannequin jump, and that's huge. It's just a really, really, really fun event. You just pretty much build a mannequin and launch it off a jump. Some people light on fire. Some people have pyrotechnics. Some people, it's great. Putin was in there twice.
He made a repeat appearance.
But one cool thing that Showdown does too, the week prior to mannequin jump day is tacky tire day. And generally you do that in the springtime, and you obviously encourage people to wear their tackies to tire. The staff at Showdown really gets involved with it.
Yeah.
There's been a couple years the women have dressed up as like old men and old women, and it's just hilarious, you know, and have fake names, and that's a good camaraderie. I don't want to be a right word. Yeah, the camaraderie is really.
It builds that.
And on top of those fun events, there's also like ski races, and there's train park races and events, and you know, there's a lot of things that hills try to do to entice people to come up, you know, experience the hills than just skiing, you know, 9 to 4.
As an avid skier, and like if you were traveling to another location, would you avoid days where there's events like that, or would you be drawn to them if you're just wanting to ski?
It's a good point. Probably depends on the event. Most of the time, the mountains are pretty big. Even Showdown's pretty big for a nice little local hill. So like you're still pretty spread out on the hill, you know. And if you were just really worried about tons of people in one area, just for whatever reason get run into, just stay away from that one run.
It's that simple, folks.
Yeah. But we were down in Grand Targhee with the club 2 months ago, and they had a very extreme all mountain race, which is pretty much you just pick your line and you come down, and you're like going off cliffs and whatever.
Oh my gosh.
But that drew people in, because like as a semi-expert skier, I'm looking at these kids and like, I can't do that. So then you sit there and watch them for 10 minutes and hope they don't fall off a cliff. But so a lot of it is an attraction to come watch. At Showdown we do the Brock Stokey Bump Off Bash, which is a good friend of ours who unfortunately passed away years ago. And so it's a big mogul competition, and you'll get people that are just skiing down the blue run, and that would be next to the black run, and they'll just sit there for, you know, 25 minutes, an hour, and just watch the competition, you know, just take a little break, you know, or the big air jump or a train park event. You know, it's just people are curious, you know, we're all curious creatures, you know. It's like, I want to see what they're doing. I want to see a crash.
What's a mogul, Andy?
Oh, mogul's like...
It looks like a bump.
It looks like a bump. Looks like a V-dub bug in the middle of the run.
Is that intentional?
It occurs over time, like washboarding occurs on a gravel road.
Okay.
So the steeper their run, let's say you get a bunch of powder and you're skiing down that run, you're constantly pushing and grinding that snow back into the base of the hill. And at some point, especially for skiers, we naturally don't ski from left to right of a ski hill and like do a gigantic zag. We're in like a tight S curve going down, like a figure 8.
Yep.
You know, that's a very popular term. And so that over the course of a day or a couple of days pushes the snow into the center and creates a mogul. So if you could trace a figure 8, the stuff in the middle would form into this mogul. And moguls are very fun for skiers if they're kind of set up right. But the whole hope is that you'll get more snow on those steep runs and fill those in, and you can have a nice powder day. But eventually, most of it always gets groomed down or pushed down into moguls.
Okay.
And the steepness must have to deal with it, because you're never going to find moguls on like a green run. Some really steep blue runs you will, but that's why greens and blues are mostly groomed to like help stop that problem. And blacks are just essentially too steep for the groomer to go up and down. So since you can't groom it, that's what Mother Nature gives you eventually, is moguls. Oh. Yeah. And they can get very hard.
Well, I watched the Olympics.
Yeah.
That is my investment in skiing this year.
Yeah.
And they have the moguls. And I'm just like, man, that doesn't even look fun.
Yeah,
like it looks like your hips are going to hurt.
Yeah, the knees go so fast, and like your knees are like into your chin.
Yeah, and you're just bouncing the entire way. Yeah. I'm like, that.
It's actually really fun once you get the hang of it.
Once you figure out how to do it.
People think I'm probably crazy, yeah, but it's fun.
Well, I think anything can be fun as long as you understand what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It's like riding a horse.
Exactly.
If you're not comfortable and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing and it starts to gallop, it's not going to be fun for you unless you know what you're supposed to be doing when that happens.
Yeah.
So just become educated. You don't have to become an expert, but you should become at least educated about what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Don't just pick out a name because it sounds fun on the hill.
Right.
Like, oh, Ruby's Gulch. Let's go down this first run.
Let's
Well, that's probably not the best thing. Look at a map, people.
And ask a friend if you're there.
Friend, yeah.
And if you don't have a friend, make a friend and ask them.
Yep, exactly.
So what other stories do you have to share with me about Showdown? What things have I not asked?
I don't know. That's probably like a whole nother podcast. Like I said, I've been skiing there my whole life, so I've gone up back in the days where you used to have a ski bus that would bring you up here from town, and that was really fun. Just we would ski Showdown so much that we would just like sit in the trees and build jumps some days. We just got so bored skiing the rest of the hills, And the friends you make up there is probably kind of life changing. Just like any sport, you find people that really care about your sport, and they become lifelong friends. I've met some of my best friends up there, and it's just.
Now your entire family skis, correct?
Yep, correct. Yep. We got one snowboarder. It's my brother's wife.
Hey.
But
way
she's
to go, Courtney!
Way to go, Courtney! Yeah. Shout out!
Yeah. Wow.
And it's good. And it's good. It is a good family-friendly sport. It's getting more expensive, but it's not as expensive as like buying everybody in the family a snowmobile.
Right.
Or like
and maintaining
boating.
a snowmobile.
Exactly. So it's a good way to connect with the family and bond with the family, and it's stuff the kids don't realize until they grow older. I'm like, oh, that was fun. I'm glad my parents brought me up, and now it's a lifelong sport, and I can teach kids younger than me to do it.
So,
I mean, a lot of the stories we probably can't talk about on the podcast.
So we'll head down to the bar.
We'll head down to the bar.
One of the bars you own.
One of the bars, yeah. It's just like I always tell people Showdown, especially Showdown, because the vibe is just so friendly. Like never not you would run into a fight at the ski hill, but I've never seen anybody raise their voice. Everybody's always happy-go-lucky. It really is like the counterpart to like the Voyager Stadium. It's that type of like nostalgic feel. Like you're just, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the feeling is just so good. You kind of get that same feeling at the ski hill. I think because there's just so many people that come up there, it's just a very unique experience. Like you said, when you went to Teton, even if you weren't skiing, like it's still the experience, and you still get a good day drive. Like and the point is just to get out and experience nature. You know?
What we had expected, which fully expect. You are a nerd walking in your fancy boots and a cute sweater, carrying your purse, wearing your sunglasses, having your hair did. I can't imagine what people thought. They had to have looked around and gone, what is happening?
What's going on?
But I knew that going in. Like I knew I wasn't out of I knew I was out of place. But they were still nice to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we knew walking in, we were going to take up a space, we were going to have lunch. But we didn't want to take it away from a skier who was already there.
Yeah.
So we tried to find something that was a little bit out of the way. And we had a skier's like, hey, I'm almost done. You can feel free to sit here. And I said, well, thank you so much. And it's not like he ever said to me, you clearly aren't skiing today.
Yeah, exactly.
He
like
was
people
still
might
nice.
think it, but they're still nice. Yeah.
And then I went down and ordered lunch, and I told the guy, I said, hey, we came up for lunch. He's like, that's awesome. Thanks for coming up here.
Yeah. And they gave you a little skier mannequin, that barbed wire, and here's your number. Yeah.
Very artistic. And so I told them what area we were sitting in, and it was just amazing to sit up there and see that. And I should do that at Showdown more often.
Yeah, just go up there,
just
sit
go
down.
up for lunch.
Yeah. Hey, that's fine. Sometimes I think like a quarter of the people up there, well, they're all, they got the kids up there, so maybe mom's not skiing or dad's not skiing, or they take their turn. So just walking around the lodge is a fun experience because, like, shouldn't you guys be out skiing?
Haven't you been here for like 4 hours and not been on the hill?
Yeah.
Showdown is usually open December.
Usually December through April. Well, beginning of April. And so by the time you actually get some good base snow, it's around Christmas time, depending on the weather.
What would you say is the best time of year to go plan a trip to come to Great Falls and go skiing at Showdown?
February, March.
Okay.
January gets cold, and it gets cold everywhere where there's snow, obviously. But January is like, you got to be a diehard skier.
You got to be hardy.
You got to be hardy. But I'd say February, March. By the time February hits, this hill has enough snow. I'm not like saying don't go skiing in December or January, but you got a good solid base by February.
That's the ideal.
That's going to snow most of February. Weather's not 25 below.
One of the things that, back to looking cute on the mountain.
Yeah.
My husband's always been committed to buying all of his own gear. So a couple years ago, we started golfing, took up golfing. We're going to become golf experts,
Yep.
but he wouldn't rent clubs. And so we had to wait until we had purchased clubs to be able to go golfing.
Yeah.
That's not my style.
Not your style. Yeah.
Like, I'm not that good, so I'm not
I
going to
can
know
rent.
if the rental clubs are crap. I'm not going to know the difference.
Yeah.
So if you're like me,
Yep.
Team Becca, who wants to rent, try it out, figure out what your style is, what things you like,
Yep.
what is your opinion? Rent or
I'd
buy?
Rent. I'd rent for sure.
Okay.
Showdown has their rental game like on point. Like they have a whole different building for it. You go in, like they know exactly what they're doing. You be in and out of their boots fitted in 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, perfect.
If that, like they're pretty Johnny on the spot. And that way, just like any other sport, better equipment makes a little bit better outcome. But in the skiing case, the boots are probably more important than the skis. Like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna like take that to my deathbed, but if you're learning, you'll get a decent pair of boots and some skis, and you'll learn the basics pretty easy. The faster you go, the tighter you want your turns to be. So the tighter your boot can be, the more responsive
Oh, you are.
you are. And then your skis, you just generally get different types of skis for what you like to do, whether it's powder or groom runs or skiing through what we call crud, which is between powder and what moguls are.
Okay.
Essentially both, but yeah, learning out renting is nice and a lot cheaper option.
Well, I just think it's the most important way to learn
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Number one, they're investing in what they know to be good equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy something that looks cute. It's
Yeah.
probably not functional.
Yeah.
It has worked for me for fishing often, but I don't think I want to trust my entire body to this methodology of going in and going, yeah, this is cute. I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
So boots and skis they rent. Now, if you're coming from Florida, if you're coming from California, you might not own winter coats. Can you
Yeah.
rent winter coats and ski pants? Or should you just
No.
buy that when you show up?
Yeah, that one you pretty much have to buy.
Okay.
Unless you're here before this hill opens, with the ski club, we do the Great Falls Ski and Board Swap every October, and there is new and used equipment, obviously skis, boards, boots, helmets, gloves, all that. So you can buy everything you want there at a pretty substantial savings. The one thing that's hard with little kids is they grow every year.
Oh, yeah.
So
and
it's like,
quickly.
it's hard for a parent to justify buying a kid a pair of skis when they can just go rent them. Because at some point you might be able to go 2 years without buying new equipment, but kids are like beans.
It's weird how you can't stop them from growing.
Yeah, we should put a brick on their head.
Oh, well, I really appreciate the time you've taken. And for you listeners, what you don't know behind the curtain is it's taken us forever to get Andy here because
I know. We started, 2 months ago?
Yeah, but it's really cool because what has caused the delay is he goes skiing.
Yeah,
which is exactly what you should be doing if you live in the Great Falls area. If you're a Montana person, if you come to visit, that's what you should be doing is getting out. So we don't fault you for that. I'm just glad we finally made it happen.
Me too.
Amidst all the other things that you have going. And so I'm going to wrap it up by saying plan your next trip to Great Falls in February to go skiing. You have it on Andy's authority. It's going to be perfect.
Perfect.
So every February, there's plenty of other things to do all year long, and we'll talk about those in other podcast episodes. But February is your time to make the most out of your experience at Showdown. And remember, you can do 2 ski hills in one location. It's almost like we're a base camp.
That's
for
right.
Adventure.
Who knew?
I think maybe we did.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you all for listening. We really appreciate the fact that you continue to have fun with us on We're No Damn Experts. And until we see your bright, smiling, happy, joyous, healthy face here in Great Falls, we hope you're having an amazing time planning your next trip to the greatest damn town in Montana.
We're No Damn Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.